Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Survival Saturday, and it's time for the topic tonight. And it is we're following the after the event happens, and this event is after the rule of law is gone. What are your plans now? How's everybody doing out there? All right. So let me change something here. Change that banner to something a little bit more topic appropriate. And let's see who else here. Make sure I got everybody here. So first one in was Walt Rogers, then Troop 1351, Shady Hill Homestead, Phelan Clan Wolf, Mad Chick Acres, Tibor, Geeky Gardens, Diana 2, Butch Graves, CUCV Farmer, watching from the People's Republic of Michigan. Cool. All righty. So tonight's event we're going to explore is after the rule of law is gone. And I've seen so many off the wall, pipe dream, smoking some funky stuff, fantasy land, fear porn videos from channels out about this and all the stuff there, saying it's going to go happen and how it's going to be, and they're right and everybody else is. Oh, Kaylin Strain's here. So we're going to explore this a little bit, and some of the stuff I have to tell you may surprise you. But it's what we had, what the data we gathered and, figured out when I was working at Homeland Security, what would happen if something happened to cause a world without the rule of law. All right, so let's pop over here. Yeah, froze. Yeah. Okay, so let's So warning, yeah, all right. Possible fear fantasy porn. Yeah, we got that. Yeah, zone ahead. Yeah, only for those that really believe it's going to last forever, because it's not. The automatic thing didn't work on it. There we go. Maybe not. We're going to talk about the real stuff here. All right, causes for the end of the world, or the end of rule of law as we know it. So the end of rule of law is not, well, I don't say is not there. There could be a possibility where it's going to be a trigger to cause the total collapse, the total Tawaki, and everything else on it. But generally, the end of rule of law is a symptom or a process along all the dominoes falling over. It's it's not here at the first couple dominoes falling. It's way over here and it gets knocked down. Yeah. So yeah, it's it's not like, oh, the power grid went down. No, it's not going to cause a whole bunch of stuff. The end of rule of law is power grid went down, the oil stopped flowing, all these other things that happen first, and they start causing dominoes to fall over. And one of the dominoes that falls is law enforcement. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. And so I'm going to address the one that, it's possible that you get certain politicians in there to play fast and loose and stuff and cause stuff to go on. And then they start, like was big several years back, oh, we need to defund the police. Well, you get lawmakers start defunding all law enforcement, not just cities, counties, and states and federal government, and all of a sudden everything starts getting defunded and agencies start getting closed. Yeah, that could be a man-made on purpose or by stupid neglect of those causing it. Something happened. Yeah, when Portugal had their power outage, yeah, they went boom to emergency protocols. And those emergency protocols did not include defunding the law enforcement. No. All right. Well, it's all right. The gamer's in here. What's he saying? Don't forget this week for the North Atlantic Caribbean Hurricane Preparedness Week. Okay. And Dave Knight is here. Welcome. Old enough to remember the riots in '67. Yeah, I was 10 years old when those were going on. So having riots and stuff like that isn't world without a rule of law. It's not the end of the rule of law. It's just that a bunch of bad players are misbehaving, they're out rioting, and are trying to overwhelm law enforcement. But it's not happening everywhere in the country at once. It's like, all right, it was Detroit. It was Watts. It was Harlem. It was, different areas had, throughout time has had major riots and stuff. And it's like, other areas are like, dang, I'm glad that's not happening here. In fact, most of the areas was glad it's not happening here. But for it to be a man-made, purposeful or neglect on their brain power to figure out, oh, if we're defunding the police, we're going to wind up losing all of them because what are going to be here going to be so overworked. They're going to say, screw this. I'm going to go get a blue-collar job elsewhere. And Daniel Barry Sports Highlight came in. Hey, so that's where it could be man-made because now it could also be caused. It could be, quote, man-made by people causing the first domino to fall, and like the eighth or ninth domino to fall over is, the rule of law has ended temporarily. And that's the thing is people, these other channels saying, oh, it's going to be great without the rule of law. We can go out there and do anything we want. Well, excuse me, but it's only going to be temporary. Rule of law will come back. It's always come back throughout history. Venerable Al, how you doing? So, dang, they're throwing up a lot of ads out there, Tibor. Dang. Crap. Yeah, I noticed when they really stifle on my channel the quote watch hours they're giving me, they start pumping more ads out, which is funny. Is the for the channel here, they knocked last Saturday's hours down from, was it Saturdays or Sundays? Anyways, I know there was a lot of hours because I had a lot of live stuff. They knocked it down from when it first came out, it showed it at 75 hours of watch hours for that day, and then 2 days later they knocked it down to 3.4. And it's like, what the hell? I know there were more people watching it because some people were talking about the videos. They were emailing me and about when they were rewatching videos and stuff. And anyways. Yeah, I like the rule of law of them. But anyways, yeah, I don't know why when they start knocking hours down. So I'll probably lose a bunch of hours today, and yeah, and so they're pumping out ads for the hours they're gonna have a hard time taking away from the live streams and stuff. So, anyways, so I apologize for the platform's actions on doing things. All right, so there could be international things that could cause stifling or causing world law enforcement to suddenly cease to exist, and then we're just left over our U.S. And if something happens and the federal government collapses, all of a sudden left with just states and then counties and then cities. That's generally how it's going to collapse. It's going to collapse from the top down. And some people, say, no, it's going to go all at once everywhere. No, it's generally going to start at the top and work its way down. because your cities are going to be able to stay functioning a little bit better because their communications is, oh, it's within the city, and being within the city, they can contact each other. So it'll probably be the last one. You just think of the Old West. A town springs up, people start growing, they get enough people there, and things start happening. It's like, oh, we need to get ourselves a sheriff. And so everybody chips in, they hire a sheriff. Well, that's what happens there. Possibly, possibly not. If it starts at the top, the military is not going to be filling in the gaps. Because don't forget, there is the posse comitatus federal thing, which means that the military cannot be used for law enforcement off of military bases, which is why Trump did that border strip there and turned, and because it had been done before, and he turned it back into a military base or military reservation, so they can do law enforcement on there. Hey Mike, still being an insomniac. Oh, that sucks. And I know. It's like last night, I couldn't get to sleep till like 3:30 in the morning was the last time I looked at the clock, and then 7 o'clock, I'm up again. Yeah. All right. That's UK urban prepper, folks. So, and of course, nature causes all the events we've discussed so far that are nature based, all the ones we're going to be discussing for the rest of the year, where Mother Nature steps in and pulls out her big wooden spoon and stirs the pot and throws crap everywhere and causes the dominoes to fall off the table and just turn everything inside out. And Mark is in here also on the laptop now, pouring outside. Oh. Yeah, National Guard is different than the military. National Guard is under the discretion of the governor. But the Army, the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force, Congress would have to revoke the Posse Comitatus Act. And that's something that the president can't even do with a executive order. Congress has to do that one. Same to me, yeah. Yeah, but those are local boys out there. Those are your local military. That's your state militia, which has a contract with the federal government so that they can be dragged in case in times of big emergencies and be made part of the military, at which time then they can no longer enforce laws as a state military agency. It's all legalese. But anyways, so once the proper dominoes have fallen, you're going to start seeing rule of law collapsing here, there. A good part of it's going to be caused by communication problems. Part of it's going to be caused by people in charge succumbing to the disaster. It's going to be caused by a lot of different things that contributing factors that are going to cause that domino of law enforcement or rule of law to go. Now, being rule of law, that also includes judges too, courthouses and everything else. And Mother's Garden Club is here. So for, the end of rule of law means not only end of law enforcement, it means end of judges. There's no judges out there, doing anything. And, woohoo. Thank you, sir. All righty. All right. Hang on. That deserves something special here. Let me give you something special here. Let me whip that up here. Give you a little emoji salute here. There we go. And Wayne Hunter's here too. Exactly. Communications without the power was limited, and people's Starlinks. So those that had Starlink were having problems too. So without power, their Starlink stuff died if they didn't have a backup generator or power source to power it. So as you know, and so you're going to lose on the street law enforcement. You're going to lose judges, and then you're going to lose the prison system. All part of the rule of law, and it's all going to go. But then, as we crawl back out of the hole of Tawaki or SHTF, cities are going to be the first ones to restore law and order. It's easiest. That's always been. Cities have always been the first ones to have law and order. And then it'll move to the counties. And then it'll go to states. And you get enough states together where they're functioning, they can, reform the federal government. And then you'll get federal law enforcement, which will start off with the Federal Marshal Service, then the FBI, and then Homeland Security. If the government comes back functioning as, an entity, it may be so everything's maybe so bad. It may just be, okay, we're just going to have federal marshals here to try to coordinate with all the local and state law enforcements and try to get stuff going the old-fashioned Western way and frontier way. Now, that is one I haven't heard. I have heard activity with the solar winds coming in from the, not the sunspots, the coronal holes and stuff, causing the auroras to be seen in areas that are not, they normally wouldn't be seen, especially since there weren't any CMEs going off or anything major like that. But yeah, just causing things. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of screwy stuff going on right now. So yeah, so people, those that are out there saying once rule of law starts, it's going to be going on for generations. No. Well, once it stops, once the rule of law ends, and it's like, okay, there's not going to be any law enforcement for generations. No. As soon as people can get together, they will form their own little community government or city government. And I guarantee you there'll be volunteer police officers or volunteer city marshals or volunteer deputy sheriffs or sheriffs, and they're going to be working to reinstill the rule of law for that city. And once one city does it, then the neighboring city is going to go, all right, we need to do the same thing. You get several of them together, and then they're going to reform the county government, loosely. You're not going to have all the department. You're going to have the county Department of Health, the county vector control, county weed abatement. You're not going to have any of those, but the first thing you're going to have is county sheriff. Well, I've always been of the opinion, and I got this from my grandmother, who got it from her mother, that you need to be involved in government. So if your city's trying to redo and they're holding and they get together city council meetings, go to the city council meetings. Go to the city council meetings now, anyways. But that way, when you show up and they're doing it, they recognize you. Oh, okay, this guy has good information usually, and yeah. And the thing is, though, if you feel comfortable doing it and nobody's willing to step up to take the chief of police position or the town marshal, the city marshal position, That's up to you. I'd have no qualms doing it, because once you have that first person in place, then all of a sudden there'll be people that don't want the first person position, but they'll be what they don't want to be the chief, but they'll be little Indians around to help out. And also you'll have deputies and officers to help out. Yeah, there'll be groups in city neighborhoods, and yeah, so there's there will the city limits may suddenly change. Internet possibility, pole shifting, new weapon testing. Yeah. Oh, the pole shifting. Yeah, that's going on. We know that's going on, and we also know that the sun's magnetic field shifts every 11 years. We know it. We see it. It shifts every 11 years. Now there's a galactic current from the center of the galaxy going by at this point in time right now, which happens about every 6,000 years, and that's screwing things up too. And there may be some once things get organized and they feel safe being judges again. Yeah, there may be some coming up, and then of course people will say, "Hey, we didn't like you as a judge before. We're not reinstating you as a judge. You abandoned your post. You're out." Others will be go, "Cool, this was a good judge. He did like the rest of us. He ducked and covered, and now they're pulling out. And he's helping us pull out. He can be a judge again." And that's the thing is, you never know what's going to happen until it happens. You can see things, starting to form and take place, and things going around. It's like, oh, okay, yes, all right. Now's the time to get involved so you can help guide it. It's better to help guide something to be fixed correctly to begin with than trying to patch it up afterwards. Because there's something, oh, we got it in place. We're not going, we don't need to change it. It's in place now. There are some things going on. Let me go ahead and I got some good people in here. Those that are interested, there's the link. Let me hydrate here. And I don't think I added anything else on the back side here. Oh yeah. For mitigation on this, mitigation recovery. I hear is Mark.
Hey.
Oh. Mitigation recovery. Mitigation. There's not much we can do. The only mitigation on this is that if you have proper governmental officials saying, "Hey, we need to set aside a rainy day fund," whether it's cash or gold or silver, to be able to pay law enforcement after an SHTF or Tawaki event. But those type of political leaders are far and very few between. Did you see Valley had all its power off as well? Yeah, the magnetosphere is very weak and it's dropping. And it's getting weaker by the day. Yeah, and we had a little leveling off there, and it's starting to nosedive again.
So to clarify, what I heard is that crap load of panels. I think it was in Portugal. The hertz went a little wacky, so it shut down. Then Spain opened up the power to try to power them up, but it overloaded them, and then it cut off them, and then they were already feeding France or southern France, so it cut off them, and it turned into just
dominoed. It dominoed. They started that at Portugal and a domino node all the way north, and then
Yeah, they
started
said
heading east.
the sun was shining and the wind was blowing, so our solar panels and wind stuff was they were putting out at 100%, but that's not all the power they need. But
Yeah.
it was enough to when it dropped off on the solar side or something, it knocked it down so low the automatic switches turned on, but because there was a bigger draw coming out of France, it's just a mess. Yeah, it was a domino.
It just dominoed. Yeah. Yeah, an X20 could be very devastating to us here now, and in about another 5-10 years will be so much worse. All right. So mitigating it is going to be really hard for any municipality to, unless they have enough funds and they're being, how do I want to put this? They're being financially wise with their funds and not frivolously throwing them away on free giveaways and crap pork barreling projects, to make themselves look good. And they're actually, having a rainy day fund, setting up the rainy day funds for sewer, water purification, street maintenance, law enforcement. Unless they're setting up those rainy day funds, and have those funds where even in a collapse, they have access to it. That's what I'm saying. Like a proper city, county, or state should be setting aside silver and gold or platinum, some precious metals to be able to pay the law enforcement with. That's the only way I can think of to mitigate, to have a mitigation process in place. Recovery, recovery is going to start small. It's going to start with the little guys, small town cities. Right now, our city, we contract with the county, and the county puts a deputy out here patrolling us, and the city across the railroad tracks, Firth, they do the same thing. And so we pay for half a deputy, they pay for half a deputy. Between us, we got a deputy patrolling our area. But if things go down the tubes, it's going to be like county sheriff's not, doesn't have any deputies willing to work. They're out gardening, trying to get food for their family, trying to raise livestock, doing stuff like that. We don't have any law enforcement here. There are several of us here in town that are former law enforcement. Yeah, we would probably get asked to help step up. And it's like, cool, yeah, okay. When you start charging stuff, just charge it against my future bills. Yeah. My city has some
unnecessary parking going on.
Come
on, Taylor, bell and stop using autocorrect.
Type slower. You got time. Type slower. Get the whole dirt on it. Okay.
Pork. Wait, what?
Oh, okay. Pork. Oh, unnecessary pork. She means pork. As far as pork barreling.
Spending. I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think the government's making unnecessary bacon.
No, but some government people could be unnecessarily lining their pockets with city bacon.
No, they never do that. Government is here to help.
Nancy Pelosi didn't do that. Dianne Feinstein didn't do that. The money
we give them is going to good use. It goes all back to us, to the people, for our roads.
No. What they're doing is, see, those people that are getting the pork money through their own private companies. Oh, it's going to filter down. It's going to be filtered down. Mike, how's it going?
Hello.
Yeah, it's going to filter down after they filter out and siphon off.
Most of
that $10 million turns into $50.
Yeah.
And, we spent money on the local guy to fix a sidewalk block for $50. Wait, what happened to the $4 million we gave you? Oh, it was all administrative costs. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to pay my niece as my secretary. I had to pay my cousin as the janitor for the office.
Yeah, and my other cousin had to do the study and survey and hire a team to do the study and survey to make sure that the kind of concrete you're going to use to replace that one sidewalk block was up to code. And that took 3 years, and that's a lot of money to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. But for the rule of law, though, it's, I can see it, dominoing down fairly quickly. In some cases, almost instantaneously. Some events, it could be almost instantaneously. I also see, for most cities, I give them 30 to 60 days before they get some, depending on the size of the city, before they start reinstituting, law enforcement at some level, even a simple, cops, constables on patrol, walking around, just, being a presence there to try to, make people behave, say, oh crap, they're doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Just feed them. Just make sure that you give them lunch, and somebody else can give them some food to take home to the family. And
that is so funny. There are several books out I like reading, and one of them was by Thomas A. Watson. That's exactly what they did in the one to keep the sheriff's department going. People were donating food.
Yeah.
For the deputies.
Yeah, deputies and their families.
Yeah.
Or the family.
Yeah. And then someone else that had a big farm. Someone else had a big farm and just said, "Hey, I got an empty bunkhouse. You can have several deputies bring their families out here. They can live here. We'll feed them, and they can do that. That's what we're going to do. We're going to help support the sheriff's department that way." Yeah. And you'd be surprised what's going to happen at the low levels first. Yeah, low levels going to come back first. And the Watchman just came in on your side there, Mike.
Hi, you all right? I didn't think anyone would join on my side because it's like 1:30 in the morning here.
Yeah.
Everybody was spooing there for a minute. I'm like, it might be me.
Or they've seen me go live and think, oh my God, there must be a CME disaster. Why would he go live at this time?
No, it's called an insomnia outbreak. And Howie's here, Food Forest Permaculture.
I was saying about that barley thing. It was in the news. So it's a similar situation to Spain, but they're blaming again atmospheric conditions. But all the power went off on the island of Bali at 4 p.m. The whole thing.
Yeah, I've heard the Schumann Residence Amplification. Ben Davidson of Space Weather News was talking about that too, for being a contributing factor on Portugal, Spain, and France.
And that could be why it changed the hertz frequency that the solar panels were absorbing in, and messed up the computers that need to control your 50 hertz over there in Europe, 60 over here.
Yeah, so
that messed up everything. And
from what we understand, it fluctuated that hertz, and the automatic thing for the nuclear power plants to do, if that happens, is to shut down to stop damage to infrastructure. So they shut down, which just knocked everything. Yeah, they
isolate the power plants. They isolate themselves so they don't damage the system, and the system doesn't damage them.
Yeah.
So they go like, okay, hold it. 6 foot, 16 apart.
If you look at the graphs that they did, you see it where it drops, like all the power output drops completely. And as they're saying, oh, we're getting the power back on, as it disappears off mainstream media, like we're supposed to forget about it, everything was coming back up except nuclear, still flatline.
Yeah. Well, nuclear will be one of the last ones. The reason what they do is they wait until all the other ones are resynced. And for electrical power plants, they have to make sure they're synced up with the hertz right. So so they're all doing the same pattern. Because if they're going like this, it's going to have the problem again. If it's the monsoon,
at a phase, and it'll blow things up.
Yeah, they'll start tripping breakers and stuff again. So you have to get everything back in sync. Once the system is set, has a sync set up, then nuclear will fire up and start feeding on the sync, matching the sync.
So what I heard was pretty well,
but it takes a while.
Correct.
It takes a while.
But don't worry, because the government said all we need is 72 hours worth of food in our house, and we can survive everything.
And it's been a week.
Yeah. 3 days, and you're good.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's all you need. I think 3 days is how long it takes the government to get into their bunker, and then we start killing each other.
And then they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I gotta get back out in my shed and I have a generator I bought. Shit, that thing's got to be 22 years old now. Haven't fired it up in like 15 years. Yeah. I gotta get that thing just set back up. It's a 8500 generator. It's a Honda and a Honda motor. I just got to make sure it runs. So I got it because I have a suicide plug for my house, but I know how it works. So I'm not going to kill anybody like myself.
Watchman has a question here for you.
When you get the land, are you going to bury a container or two to build a home bunker? No, not unless I hit the Euro millions and I can build a proper bunker, because all I'd be doing is burying myself.
Right.
Although that's not a bad idea. Saves on the funeral expenses.
Yeah. First rainstorm, you're going, why are the walls closing in? Literally.
Why did I make an underground swimming pool?
Yeah, exactly.
One exit.
Yeah, my brother was planning on doing an underground thing, but then he got hit by a drunk driver that was an illegal alien here in California. Down there in California.
Wow.
But he worked for a construction company, and he was their top superintendent for putting in the big pipe. And he put in pipe as large as 120-inch diameter pipe, 10 feet, nice. 40-foot sections of it. And he talked to the guys, the guys at the company. Goes, hey, next time we have a job like that, I want to tag on 2 sections of pipe to be delivered to my house up in the mountains.
Yeah, just drop it off up there with a helicopter. Sure.
No, you can drive right into it, because that's where a lot of the pipe they did was over hills, mountains, and stuff like that. That big stuff to move stuff from the Snake River down to San Francisco.
I imagine that request would trigger some questions.
Probably.
Well, no, they know, and the thing is, so one of the other guys, the main estimator goes, that's not a bad idea. I may do that too.
Yeah. Now all of a sudden that 2 miles of pipe became 12 miles. And what do they say? Oh, well, we had to account for miscuts and improper installations and
no, this is just buying buying it separately, because they've had people buy stuff on for other sizes of pipe, just for irrigation stuff on all the time. And they say, okay, it's going to cost you this much, and we'll order it for you. As part of the, because when they order, they get a discount ordering a big block of the pipe, so they do it like that.
They come over. Most of that stuff comes from China or some other place.
Yeah.
So good luck.
Well, actually, all that pipe, American made.
Pittsburgh
has to be American made.
Can I ask you guys what you think of that Atlas guy over there? The bunkers he does.
I think they're cool. But I mean, they're expensive, and obviously his customers are multi-millionaires or took out a loan that they're hoping they'll never have to pay back.
Yeah. Right. There's 2 big two big companies. I think Atlas is the more on the up and up of the 2 of them. Mm-hmm. The other one is shady and has had a lot of complaints. I'm not even sure they're in business anymore. But
I've seen a lot of Atlas's videos and that, and there's some. They got some slick stuff, and they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And with your escape tunnel that's full of sand, you just got to make sure when you open it, you're not standing in the way, because all that sand is coming into your bunker, and that's an emergency get out type of tube.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Here we go. I'll change mine. There we go. There's my bunker.
There you go.
But as far as bunkers go, I would say if you have the money and you want someone else to build it for you, something like Atlas is fine because they do have a lot of modular plans on it. So you can make it longer, or you make it two shorter ones side by side with connecting tunnels, and then you have your escape one going up into the garage, and you have the other one going up into the bushes somewhere else, hidden by a bunch of.
They'll customize whatever you want. I saw the one where the guy wanted a bunker in his suburban area neighborhood. They put it under his driveway. It fit, and they had the escape tunnel, or the entrance was up into his garage, and some other tunnel. They wouldn't say where it was, but obviously all the neighborhoods watching them do this. And then they buried it and put the blacktop back over it, so it looked like there was nothing there. But he had like a 600 square foot bunker under his driveway.
I mean, it makes a cool man cave and a bar if you can get a picture in it.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
To be honest, I think it's got its place. Like he's on about burying containers there to do it. It wouldn't survive any sort of blast, any sort of natural disaster.
No.
But we don't have basements over here. We very rarely have cellars or basements. Mm-hmm. So for something minor, if it's a storm, it's a really bad storm, or if it was fallout itself, you were just trying to get away from for a while, it could have its uses for that, but definitely wouldn't be under there trying to think I'm going to survive some sort of direct strike.
Now, some of the states here, northern Texas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Iowa, through what's called Tornado Alley.
Mm-hmm.
They put small. I mean, you're talking about either an 8x8, a 10x10, 10x15 bunker that has concrete thing and the doors on it, opens up. They all run down in, close it up.
Is that like them pre-formed ones that just drop in and yeah.
And those are like that. And then there's other ones that they actually excavate and they make full stand up, bigger ones, and they put it in there and have a longer tube so it's deeper in the ground and covered. And some can even get as fancy as this. And they
got TVs and things, and
they got TV. They got their they got natural gas in there. They got natural gas plumbed into it. They got the electricity plumbed into it, plus power stations and stuff. Charge off the system while it's up, and then just but it's money.
Yeah, funnily enough, I did a video recently on the channel, and it was
if I won our ball here, I would buy a missile silo up in Maine. There's a bunch of them for sale up there, and they fill in the actual silo, but the underground bunker part, which is like 8 feet thick of concrete with these massive steel doors. Yeah, the whole underground complex is like 30,000 square feet, because they would bring the missiles in on trucks going in straight, and then they would stand them up into the silo. So it's huge, but they weld those doors shut and fill them up with debris, so you can't ever build your own missile. I guess, like, who's going to build their own missile?
Well,
but okay,
actually, some of them they bought them before they put the debris in it, and they've turned it into like an apartment building, and then to meet the treaty with Russia, they have an inspector from Russia come and look at it. Say, yep. Oh, yeah, okay. It's no longer. It's living there. It's an apartment now, so it meets.
Nice. Can I buy a floor?
Yeah, that's what they do. They sell some of these ones. They sell floors, and some of them they'll sell half a floor. So
then they got like the swimming pool down at the bottom and the spa and all that. Oh yeah, it's its own thing. It's a laughing stock. All that space should be used for practical stuff if it was a real situation.
Oh dang! I forgot to hang on a second here.
It's out in the middle of nowhere in Texas. and people buy their apartments there for just in case the crap hits the fan. There's a nuclear event. Well, they got to drive 200 miles to get to it. Good luck.
I did a video on my channel, and it was a tour of a bunker we've got up in Scotland, which is like a 60s, like a Cold War bunker and stuff that they've restored. And I was going around it all, but luckily it was quite empty when I did it, and I managed to speak to the guy. There's no power in it whatsoever. The power to power the bunker is at surface level. So if anything happened, if it got destroyed, you were cut off from power completely, air pumps, the lot. But if anything happened and people had to do something to turn the emergency power on, so the fastest run in the bunker had to run outside and hope he didn't get vaporized, pull a lever and run back in. This stuff wasn't planned out very well.
Yeah. What I like, so Bob, so I put the link on my side, or Mike, if you want to hit the link for Bob on your side, because he's commenting on your side there.
If I put it in this chat on StreamYard, does that go on my side? I don't know.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So one of the things interesting on any bunker, one of the things I've come to the conclusion of talking to all the guys that do.
Okay.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, guys. Thanks.
What's up, Bob?
Talking to all the guys that do for power on bunkers and stuff. One of the things they works best is these power stations that are multi-feed. In other words, they can take 110 or 240 volts. They can take 12 volts. They can take 60 volts, whatever, from solar panels. And if you have your regular grid power to your bunker, you just have it plugged in all the time, so the batteries are kept charged all the time.
Yeah. So
power goes out, you don't need to worry about solar cells or anything. You have solar panels. You have power in that battery bank for however long. Then you got to figure out, okay, now we've got so much power. How long before we have to fire up a generator in the back room that has outside air for it, or see about fixing the solar panels up above? Go ahead, Bob.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thanks for the link, guys. Okay, Mike, you lived there for a while on your food stores. And you've had some time to think about it. What would you do differently now?
What's that? For the where I was living off my preps.
Right. Well, you did it for a few days. You found things you liked, you didn't like. What would you do differently now?
What I'd do differently now is plan meals that you combine to make and check calories. Lots of people grab these cans where it's like, a whole breakfast in a can, or a whole stew in a can. When you look at the back of that can, some of them were as low as 200 calories.
I see.
Yeah.
To hit any sort of energy deficit for the day, you'd have to have 12 cans of this soup. It's just not practical. So what I'm doing now is I'm slowly getting rid of the meal in a can stuff, and I'm building up things like, these are the meats, these are the carbohydrates, these are vegetables. I will take 3 tins and make this meal, which will be 600 or 700 calories instead.
Okay.
So that's the biggest lesson.
We got to get you into freeze drying, Mike.
Just get me the £5,000 it costs to get a freeze drive over here.
Because I make my own MREs. I mean, I cook what I like. I keep the fat low so it freeze dries well. I weigh out my portions and freeze dry it and throw them in bags. And I've done a few. I mean, I've rehydrated a bunch at my property. Just for the heck of it, I'm like, I didn't feel like cooking today. What's for lunch today? It's like, we're gonna have. I made Chinese stir fry the other day, or I rehydrated it, and it tastes just like I did it because it has the chicken and the vegetables and the sauce and all that, and it's mine. I made it. I know what it tastes like before, and it tastes the same now. Not the stuff I buy. I bought some stuff from one of the freeze dry companies, and the number 10 can of chicken and a number 10 can of ground beef. And that was before I bought a freeze dryer. And I was like, okay, well, I can do hamburger helper and chicken helper. I can make something because I'm a chef. I mean, I can make whatever I want with it. And I'm like, well, you know what? Screw this. So I just went out and bought a freeze dryer. I'm like, I'm making my own now.
Well,
Yeah.
Scottish Prepper's on the verge of wanting to buy one, so I went to his house not so long ago to visit him and I said, well, if you get one, I'll bring loads of food. We'll freeze dry it all. I'll take half. You take half. You get free food. I'm using your freeze dryer. Everyone wins.
There's
enough.
a science behind it. There is truly. I did a live feed with Gil. I mean, there's more of a science than throw it in there and let the computer tell you it's done, because good chance it's not done. If you have even a quarter of a gram of moisture still in that food when you pack it up, it'll be rotten in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Is that just trial and error, or can you take it out, test it, put it back in, or how's that?
No, you can't. You can't take it out and test it. So I everybody's like, oh, get the heat. Sorry, Gil, I'm going off on this tangent here. So everybody's like, oh,
hey, we pretty much covered the main topic to begin with.
Yeah,
and now we go for what everybody wants to hear.
Get the thermal gun. Oh wait, hold on 1 second. I gotta mute a second.
Yeah. So like one of the things he was talking about, you were living off it back in the late 80s, mid I think about 86, 87. My sister's husband lost his job, and she was not working at the time. She was a real estate agent. She just, okay, I'm going to take care of the horses and take care of the kids, doing some homeschooling stuff. And he lost his job. Company went bankrupt. Mm-hmm. And for about 3-4 months, they were living off their food storage.
I've done it. I've been there. Yeah.
And so most of their stuff, though, was number 10 cans, chicken, beef, peaches, apricots, whatever, flour, and they just used that as normal stuff. And then they made meals instead of buying the pre-done meals like from Mountain House or Augustin Farms. Yeah, they got, instead of buying stuff like that, they made it out of what they had.
So this was a box sent to me by ReadyWise to test and all that lot. Now, it's like, oh, this is 30 days food. So people are buying this, putting it in the cupboard because they live in a small place and thinking they're going to survive. Mm. And then you look at the back and a meal is a quarter of this. And that's how many calories you get in a serving.
Yeah, 220.
220.
That's a diet. That's a weight loss diet.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, Gil, that's a snack.
Even if this is supposed to feed 4 people, this one pouch, that would be 880 calories.
Right.
So what they class as 30 days, 60 servings, 30 days worth of food, you can actually put it down to about 10 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I watch a lot of channels. I don't use their information as God, as the Bible, but I learn things. And I learned a lot of stuff from one guy. And I mean, I learned recipes from other ones. And I'm like, oh, I can do that. Oh, that sounds good. I'm not going to use your recipe because I don't use Campbell's cream of mushroom soup and everything. Even though, okay, it's fine, but I don't. I make my own sauce. And so I found this one guy, and Gil, if I could post his link, I have no affiliation with this guy at all. He's he's a channel that I watch. The guy is repetitive. He just goes on and on about the same thing. He'll run his freeze dryer. He's got an early model and early software on it. He pulls the food out. So, Mike, make a note of this one. Send it to your buddy. It's called School Reports. And he pulls it out. He weighs it by the gram.
Right.
Tray and all. Puts it back in the freeze dryer. If it lost a gram of weight, that means it was a teaspoon of water. He puts it back in the freeze dryer until it doesn't lose weight. When it doesn't lose weight anymore, all the water's gone. That is your enemy. Then he'll take it out, and you need to do it try to do it in the most non-humid environment, the lowest moisture content in the air, because freeze-dried food, when you pull it out of a freeze dryer, if you're in a garage and it's like a summer day and the humidity's like 90%, it's sucking up water instantly, moisture, and your food will go bad. And the oxygen absorber takes the oxygen out, doesn't kill the moisture. The moisture will help things grow because you're not killing bacteria. You're putting any bacteria that might be in there into stasis.
Yeah.
So it's not dead, but if you once you add water to it and eat it, whatever minimal bacteria was in there when you made the food, use clean food, good food. You know, your habits of sanitation are very good. Then you got food, and I did some, and I've pulled bags out of my stores that were like 2 years old. I'm like, it's squishy inside. Nope, not even gonna open. I might open it outside and look at it and be like, oh yeah, nope. Apparently, I didn't do my science correct on that one. I did some before I did the weigh outs, and I got
Mike,
a white.
So it was said earlier that you can't redo it. You can sort of like Mark just said, pull it out, weigh it. Nope, not enough. Put it back in.
It's yeah. I was going to say it's very similar because I've been recently because a lot of my preps are based on like living 1800s wise. So if we didn't have power, no backup power, I could carry on. So I've been experimenting with salting meat and drying meat through salting, and it's a similar process where you weigh it. If it stops losing weight over a period of time, it's all the moisture's gone.
Well, I mean, salt cured meat will continue to lose weight over a period of time. That's why older cured meats and things get more expensive because they're sitting there longer, losing more weight and generating more flavor. It's the same, but it's a little different, but it's basically the same. You want 0% humidity, moisture in your food when it goes in the freeze dryer. Period. Yeah. So tell your buddy that if he's going to do that, just go to this guy's channel.
Oh well, yeah, I've saved it. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Go back in time. Some of his new stuff because he's like getting bored with just doing the same repetitive stuff. But I learned a lot watching his old stuff.
Yeah,
and that's why I do. And I used to comment and that. I still watch his videos, but now it's him and his wife, and they're just opening food and doing stuff, which is also fun to watch. What are you doing? I do the same thing. I will freeze dry ingredients. I won't freeze dry a whole meal. I'll freeze dry ingredients. You know, beef. I'll do noodles. I'll do onions, but I'll blanch them first. I won't do them raw. You know, all that stuff. I'll blanch all my vegetables and freeze dry, but I'll put them in. I'll weigh it before. Okay, this is a 4-ounce portion, and I'll weigh everything in a tray. And I have 10 4-ounce portions on a tray. When it's finally done in the freeze dryer, I'll just divide my grams by 10. And there's my portion again. And then I know how much water to add back to it because it weighed this much before. It weighed 1,000 grams before. Now it weighs 200 grams. I need to add 800 grams of water to make it back to where it was. And I did that in one of the videos I just did. I kind of went over that a little bit. But freeze drying is its own science, and you got to follow the science. There's not much creativity in the process. There's just creativity in making your food.
Quick question. Do you lose any nutritional value?
No, none, zero. You can freeze dry Greek yogurt. I've done it. You can take Greek yogurt, whatever volume it is, in whatever container, 350 ml container, freeze dry it. Put it in a pouch. Put your oxygen absorber in it. Seal it up with your pulse sealer and a zipper, or whatever kind of bags you buy. Just get good bags. In 10 years, you can take it out, rehydrate it, and use that as the mother to make more yogurt.
All the probiotics are there.
It doesn't kill the bacteria. It puts them into stasis, like mold. When mold has nothing to grow with, it just goes into spore mode, and it sits there. And as soon as 100 years later, it gets some moisture, boop, it turns back into mold again and starts growing. So you can do that with yogurt. You lose zero nutrition. You just need water.
Yeah. Let me ask.
Thing with sourdough.
Let me ask this, guys. Any of you know? Because that process is not going to work for me. Any of you know a website or a place I can buy it that's reliable? Freeze dried food.
I buy freeze dried food. ReadyWise is good, and Mountain House, they're good. The flavors are their flavor.
Thrive sells some of the yogurts and sourdough stuff. At least they used to.
Yeah, well, I mean, this stuff, it's just the calorie count, but I would say make sure you've got stuff to add to it, like add some meat to it or something like that to make that up. But what I have noticed is if you break this down, this works out at about $14 for this bag if you break it down from the box because of the cost of it, right? This cost me 50 pence from a local supermarket. It's freeze-dried pasta with powder to make a sauce. Now, the downside is it comes in these paper-style bags. But take that off, Mylar, freeze. It'll last as long as this. It is double the calories at least. It's this one packet is 540 calories, and it tastes better.
Yeah.
So they're never going to send me anything again, Ready-Wise, are they?
No.
No, probably not. No. Is that where you bought it? Is it like Tesco's, someplace like that?
Yeah. That's a Tesco one, but I'll get it from any of the supermarkets. It's just the ready pasta meals. Add water, off you go, pretty much. You know.
Yeah, and then
Right
so
on.
the
Yeah,
stuff you buy at the store, there's no
Okay.
oxygen absorbers in there. They just seal it up. Usually they pack it with nitrogen, so they'll flood the bag with a nitrogen, right out of a canister to push the oxygen out. That just gives it a longer shelf life. But those bags, it's got the Mylar film on the inside, but they're paper on the outside. They're very thin. And, okay, he's opening it. And,
this hasn't even got the
take a
Mylar in. This is literally paper. So you can see on the edge here, it's got like a plasticky lining inside to sort of keep it fresh. But if you do the vacuum sealing and oxygen absorbing yourself, it's gonna extend the life massively on them.
If you bought those and they were relatively new, but even then, there's still some amount of moisture that got in there, so you're not going to get a 25-year shelf life out of it.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, it looks like the packaging there is made more for household use.
Yeah.
It doesn't weigh much. It's a cool name. It's freeze dried. Yeah, it's freeze dried. Look at me. I'm eating freeze dried food. And you add water to it. It's like, wow, that tastes good. Which makes people go out and buy freeze dryers. And a lot of people are selling their freeze dryers because they freeze dried stuff and went by what the company, I won't say their name, that makes the freeze dryer. Oh, when the computer says it's done, check for cold spots. That's bullshit. Sorry. Get your little heat gun, get your moisture meter for wood. I bought all that stuff. I use it in my woodworking shop now. I'm like, I don't need it for that. It's water. Put it back in. If it lost weight, it still lost water. If it still lost weight, put it back in again until it doesn't lose weight. Then get it in a Mylar bag, get your oxygen absorber in there. I mean, I got Seal Meal just to help pull the extra air out and the humidity if there's any in my air, and I have a very dry house. I throw my O2 absorber in there, seal it up, label it. I put it on the table, and it sits there for 2 weeks before it goes in my stores because I'll check it and go down there and squeeze it. It's like, yep, still crunchy. We're good. And I'll throw it in my bucket and throw it on my list.
Good comment there, Caitlin. Yeah, made for camping and hiking. Yeah, it could probably, with a thin packaging, it could be put in a kitchen cabinet for a while. It's as long as you handle it gently and just use your head, I suppose it would work out just well enough.
If you put that bag in a Ziploc bag and suck the air out of it with a straw, you'd get a little more shelf life out of it than what the bag says. But sitting on the shelf and in the trucks, it's still gonna absorb some humidity through the bag.
I've just realized this says September 2024.
There you go.
So, and it smells all right still. So I trust my nose and my senses more than I trust anyone's stamped on date.
At this point, now that you open it, I know what you're having for dinner tomorrow or tonight.
Show you guys what I just installed in my garage today. See that little square up there?
Yeah.
That's one of those motion sensor solar lights, just like a security light. I put the panel on the outside of the house, and there's all my stored up tinder
firewood
for
bit.
cooking. And just ran the wire right outside right there. So when we lose power, which, I pretty much prepare for, not the end of the world. Because if the end of the world comes, I don't want to live through it. Be honest with you. Seriously, I mean, eating.
If that nuke is going to go off, please let it be within 5 miles.
I'll
just vaporized.
Go out there with my pants off. Woo! Catch the wave. But
sorry, Bob, it was a false alarm.
Now a good bail bondsman to come take you out.
Your neighbor's wife will love you after that one.
She'd probably tackle me.
Neighbor's kids are going to be in therapy for the next 20 years.
but you know what I mean. I mean, like simple. Yeah, the simple things like that is what I focus in on. You know,
Yeah.
hardware things that, you know, because the wife and I are both around 60 years old. If we take a fall at our age, we're in trouble. You know, even just during a normal storm power outage. So that's the kind of stuff I focus in on. Little things here and there and there and there, and just keep. But Mike, I was listening to your wish list.
Yeah, there's a freeze dryer on that.
You're greedy, dude. You want it all, man.
I want it all. I've been upping my game for years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I start with the little stuff, and I slowly up my game to whatever I want because
Warlord's always an option. Wayne and Roman. Where's it? There. Here's the other one I want to put up there. Prepper 101. He's funny. Been married 9 times. I'm hoping for the end of the world.
I love telling people, I'm like, yeah, my wife asked me to do dishes the other night. I said, I can't do that anymore. She's like, why not? I said, because Trump outlawed men in women's sports.
Did it work? Did it work?
Yeah, it worked great. I did dishes. I still do dishes. But anyway, I'll always do dishes.
Hey,
she knows my sense of humor, and she just laughed at it and gave me a look. I'm like, yeah, I know. I always do the dishes. It doesn't matter.
Hey, Mark.
What?
Try.
You froze.
Sorry, froze. Try that one. It's called a dishwasher, not a dishwash him.
Ooh, yeah. That'll work well. Yeah. Except who has to fix the machine when she puts in like half the food that's still on a plate into the machine that clogs up the pump? Yeah, who has to fix it? Me. Guess why I do dishes? Yeah. That's why I do it all. I don't care.
For the disclaimer purposes, anyone listening on my channel at 2 a.m. in the morning, we do not give relationship advice.
No, we don't.
Entertainment purposes only.
I don't need it. It'll be 35 years for me and my wife in June. So, no, there's no issues here. We have
doing
fun.
something right.
If we can't joke about it and have fun with stuff, why bother? And we have a blast.
That's all you need. That's all.
Good deal. Good to hear. Yeah. And we're gonna have an anniversary coming up here pretty soon. Be 19 years married, 23 years together. You know, so
in September,
pretty stable lady. I think I'll keep her. But if she don't make me breakfast again, off to North Korea you go, Missy. You're gone. Yeah.
my wife and
you better get yourself a freeze dryer there, Bob.
Yeah. So in September, my wife and I will be 37 years.
Right on. Good deal. Mm-hmm.
You got me by 2. Okay, you win.
I'm also older than you too.
Yeah, a lot. No,
I mean, I'm 2 years in with this one. Let's not add up all the previous ones.
Yeah.
But it's keeping me young. She's 15 years younger than me, so.
Wait. So you're like 30 years old, right?
I'm 40. Nice try.
As far as prepping for me and my bunch, we've got almost everything together. You know what I mean? I've been doing this for a long time, and that's why I'm making those medical kits and donating them to churches. Because now that we've got our home taken care of, now we can go out into town and start helping other people. You know, my goal is to get one of those medical kits in every church in this small city. I want to put one of those in every church so that any disaster comes up, someone's got direct and immediate ability to be able to stop the bleeding for anyone who needs it. You know,
you posted that earlier, did you post one earlier?
Yes, I did just today.
Okay, yeah, yep. I'll catch it here in a little bit. I saw it pop on my my feed things.
It's a good ambition to have. I love that you're giving back like that. I mentioned in one of Swede's streams that I got my family, her side of the family, all medical kits for Christmas. So I made them all open at once. Mm-hmm. I thought nothing of it, but they did a charity marathon thing the other day and took it with them. And I'm just like, good. It's worked. You're actually using it.
Good. Yeah. But the only thing I really want to say about this again, is take care of you and yours first, and then you can start going out. That's my advice as a older man. Advice to younger
No,
people.
that's actually perfect advice, because think about it. When not that I fly anymore, when you get an airplane, they tell you flat out, if we lose pressure, the masses fall out, you need
And
to put
then-
it on you first, because
First.
if you don't get on first, you can't help anybody.
Correct.
So
Yes. Mhm.
think of it that way. Anything crap hits a fan, make sure you're okay before you just run out and help everybody else, because you may not be able to help anybody. And then you're worthless, then you're gone, and then everybody that relied on you is also now in trouble.
Yeah.
So you first, then the rest. Sorry. That was my soapbox for there.
That's all right. No, there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with that.
The other one is with Gil's topic tonight. Yeah. Prep, pray, stay out of the way.
Yeah.
Get yourself ready. Pray it goes away. And just don't get in anybody else's way with all the crap that may go on and will probably go on. Just try to keep a low profile.
It's worked for me. I've been around the world. That's worked for me. Eyes front and just keep on walking. There's only so many people you can help, but you got to help yourself first. Yeah.
And don't worry about getting that big 4x4 pickup with the 8-inch lift kit on it in candy apple red. No.
Yeah, and spinners. Got to have those spinners on there, because they're cool in a flood zone.
Yeah.
This is my bug out vehicle, but actually it's Barbie pink. I'll have you know. Thank you very much.
I got one of those electric Barbie Jeeps that my kids had.
I've got an electric toy anyway. I've got the EV, haven't I? So that's fun and good.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that.
Really,
it's
Chef?
a company vehicle, but
Chef, really, you have one of those? We need to
I
talk.
don't.
Okay.
My kids had one, and I upped it. Got rid of that stupid little tiny 12-volt freaking 1-amp battery in there. I put a 650-amp car battery in the back. That thing ran for a week, but it did a wheelie every time they hit the gas because there was so much weight in the back bumper.
Oh my God!
You got to
Chef,
modify it.
We need to talk.
Hey, Mark, you know what it reminds me of? I was watching Brad Williams on it, and he said when he turned 16, his dad goes, "Hey, but I've got a car out here in the garage for you." It was a little electric car like that.
Yeah, exactly.
He goes, "I still drove it to high school."
Yeah, my kids loved it because they could just hop in it, and at night I would just throw the trickle charger back on it. And yeah, it was a 650 cold cranking amp battery I pulled out of a truck. It was okay. It worked. I don't care. It's only powering these little two tiny itty bitty motors at 12 volts. And oh yeah, they could go wherever they wanted. I just had to make sure they didn't. I had to put a wheelie bars on it because it would just do a wheelie when they hit the gas or the throttle.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm going to bounce down. Thanks for having me up, fellas.
All right, Bob, take care.
Take it easy.
Bob, you doing
out.
a late one tonight or tomorrow night or no?
I probably could go late tonight if you want to. I mean, I
don't care.
Yeah.
I'm off this weekend, so I'll be kicking around.
Yeah, the wife's working tonight, and I'm just be here watching movies or whatever. So yeah, I probably will. Just when the mood strikes me, I'll just go on and just like see what's going on out there.
Catch me off guard all the time. Like, oh my God, dude, it's 1 o'clock in the morning for me
Okay.
on a weeknight.
Peace out, you guys. God bless.
Later, Bob.
All right,
Hey,
take care,
Bob.
Bob. All right. Yeah. What was it that was mentioned there? Going back a little bit, hopping in the Wayback Machine here to the silos there and stuff. There are several companies out there that have bought silos with the silos still intact. And so the community center is the blockhouse. And then the silos are developed and have
The living quarters.
living quarters and stuff in there. But the main, community center type thing is the blockhouse, the big blockhouse control rooms and all that. So there are some out there, but you're talking to buy a single floor in these, you're talking 7 digits.
Well, yeah, because somebody else has done the work, and you have a space, and they have the food, and
It's like buying a house.
yeah, but except they have the infrastructure around you in place. By your own, like I said, the one I was looking at way up in, I think it was in Fort Kent, Maine, or somewhere up way. I mean, we're talking Canadian border, northern part of Maine. They were selling the whole thing. It was 85 acres with the house, with all the concrete buildings, with the bunker. It was like 1.2 million. This is like 10 years ago. I was looking at it, but I couldn't live up there. There's nothing up there. I mean, anything you need, you have to bring. You have to drive 100 miles just to go to Home Depot.
Wow. Have you seen? There's a series on. I think it's on Amazon Prime and on Apple TV. It's called Silo, and that's based in a future. But they've got this Silo similar sort of thing where it's all the stories and all developed into different things. That's interesting because you've got like agriculture levels and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've seen those. I haven't seen that show. I never heard of that one, but I'll look that one up.
Yeah, it's a bit far-fetched in places. Take it with a pinch of salt, but it's good to see how they live in,
Yeah, well,
like anything, Hollywood.
It's done in a Hollywood basement, but yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Well, I just looked it up here. So, in Allen, Kansas, there's one for sale for $749,000. There's one in Nebraska. Doesn't say the price on it. It's a Nebraska Public Media has a sale going on one. One in Arizona for a Titan II missile complex.
Yeah, the Titan II. That's it. There's a whole website just for Titan missile complex.
And so that that one's down there. I may be interested in that one, but I'm going to type in here for my state, Idaho, see what there is in Idaho.
You got all the Minuteman silos out there.
Oh,
most of those are
all right. Active. There are currently 5 properties with a bunker for sale in Idaho. Sorry. Hey, I'm looking at the other screen, not looking at what I'm saying. Myself froze here. So there are 5 properties with bunkers in Idaho. Average price listing is $1,039,383. That's average price.
Yeah, million. Sure.
Yeah. And its average price per acre is $187,000. So that's about 8 acres comes with that.
Yeah. You get the acreage, you get the buildings, the rotted out, rusty fences, and it's a concrete structure that's full of water and moisture and dark and dank, and you got a lot of work to do in there.
Yeah.
But you're that scared? Go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, you can look stuff up, but interesting stuff is just for laughs and giggles for everybody. Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
All these different ones. I mean, that's good. That one's a little nasty.
Yep.
That one's a little nasty. There's plans for one. I got all the different levels and stuff set up. Here's another one has all the things set up on that one there, but it's not as big as round as you think it is. It's not as big as round as you think it is.
No, it's like 50 feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it kills me. Do you want to see the property difference for something that you'd find similar in the UK?
Sure.
Throw it up there.
Where is it? Is it? Hang on. There we go.
Come on.
Well, we're waiting, Mike.
I've done my bit.
I'm trying to add it here. Okay, take that one. Try this. There we go. Okay.
This is the equivalent of $860,000, and it's just an underground reservoir, and the bunker side of it is this big. That's it. You like
Alrighty.
2 beds. It sells because you've got all these lovely plans that you could do with it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But literally, it's this. And that'll cost you just under $1 million in the UK.
Gunslinger Outdoors just came in.
So, yeah. I'd snap their hands off for a silo.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, the thing is, though, here's the thing: a shelter like this, if you have several years worth of food, and there is absolutely no law around, so basically it's a world without the rule of law. Yeah, I'd hide it. I'd hide in one of these for a couple of years if I had it. I got plenty of DVDs, plenty of books.
Yeah, well, you kind of need something to make sure you got power, which is on the outside. So you have to go out and do maintenance and stuff and make sure nobody sees you going back in the hole.
At what point do you make that transition? That's the question, right? Because without rule of law straight away, I assume you'd attempt to defend the town, defend the house, etc., before you decide to bunker it. So is that only when you get overrun that you do something like that?
It depends on the person. If they have a bunker put in and things start going downhill, they may,
disappear.
Just move everything down in there, but have everything up ready, battery powered, solar powered, motion sensors, whatever. So, all right, crap. All right, they're trying to break in. Everybody downstairs, and you hide it, and they ransack the house. They leave. You come back out again.
Yeah, and then people like me and Mike are like, oh shit, there's solar panels everywhere. There's nobody around. I'm taking the solar panels. Now you just stuck with your freaking batteries. Good luck with that. Yeah, that's the only problem with having that kind of. Yes, I have batteries. Great. Yeah. When they run out, you're done. You have a generator. Where's that? Well, that needs an access to the outside. You need fuel, propane, whatever. Sooner or later, you ain't going to live down there for 2-3 years.
And here's my opinion on bunkers. It's not for an urban setting.
No.
You want to be a more rural setting where you're not going to have these, roving gangs coming in there, and where it's only going to be a last ditch thing going down in there, or it's a storm cellar, type thing.
I think to be forced to live underground, it would have to be no chance of any other way of surviving for me. Yeah, I'd probably rather be in the tent in the middle of nowhere than be underground.
Just up in a tree watching the world go by. Yeah.
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 Bug out is obviously always an option.
Yeah. Yeah. Butch, yeah, you're right. But for the new ones, they're disguising them as other type vent things, like for the electrical box. Some now have these little vent things. They have small things around, and a lot of them, what they're doing, they have the vent pipe for air in and air out in a planter where they got rose bushes or pyracantha around there, so no one's going to go digging through it to see what's in the middle of that thing. Then of course, if the plant dies, and then it's it may become visible. But yeah, it's Morlocks. Morlocks. The time machine.
Yeah, get a boat, get out there, get away from it. You can see them coming for 8 miles.
Yeah, a boat would be on my list before a bunker. I think.
Throw your multi-phase color blue tarp over everything, so you kind of blend in with the ocean at that point, and they may not see you on a telescope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to repaint the giant orange lifeboat that I'm thinking of buying.
Yeah. The problem is with boats do take a bit of maintenance, so you better have a way to have like either an air pump where you can go down and have air to you while you're scraping the holes off and keeping it clean, everything else like that. But if you have any sorts of maintenance problem while you're out there, you're out there.
You're on your own, buddy. Yeah. Well, if you have any maintenance problem when you're stuck underground and the zombies are running around, you're dead.
If you have maintenance problems, all right, got to go up. All right, arm it up. Got everything on here. Yeah. Got my Thompsons and my other ones. But yeah, sail yacht for
Yes, sailing out with bunker.
Sailboat. Yeah. Yeah. All right. For this little part, I got to go with another Kevin Costner movie.
Waterworld.
Waterworld. Yeah, I think every prepper's seen that movie going, yeah, that's a bunch of bullshit, but okay.
Land. Have you ever seen Land?
Yeah. Look, flip her back upside down. It's that way. Yeah, okay, sure.
All right.
Like you need direction. Gotcha.
Here's the funny thing. Back when I was growing up in Martinez, we could look out the kitchen window and we would see the mothball fleet in the Carquinez Strait right next to the Martinez-Benicio Bridge. All the World War II mothball ships. And then all of a sudden there was this boat from Howard Hughes got parked out there for a while. That would have made a great, one for a whole mag or keg to live on.
I just looked at the price of a catamaran. Oh.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've been seeing these reels and stuff on all the new. What does a millionaire's yacht look like? Here's what $10 million will get you. Here's what $20 million will get you. Here's what $100 million like crap.
Yeah. What can I get for 10 million? No, 1,000.
A bunch of 55-gallon barrels sealed, strapped together with a deck on it and a travel trailer sitting on top of it.
Sold. I'll take it.
Actually, I wish I'd saved the link for this. There was a reel of this couple up, what are they? Up in by Seattle, up there. All right. They started out years and years and years ago making a pontoon house. And every year they add a section to it. And now it's this huge, it's like 2 acres out there floating in the ocean, in the bay, but it's, and they raise, they got, import dirt onto it. So they have gardens, they got fruit trees, they got nut trees, and they fish off the boat.
There's whole villages in Thailand that are like that, right?
Yeah. I mean, heck, you go to Hong Kong and it's practically like that. Some of those boats never leave the dock.
A houseboat's a good investment if you live in Venice, because your normal house is sinking.
Yeah.
Everything sinks in Venice. Oh, wait. It's been sinking for thousands of years, but it's still not underwater yet. What's underneath?
7 stories underwater.
This used to be a skyscraper.
Yeah,
that's what they've done. They just build on top of it. As they got to abandon one, they build another one on top of it.
What? How can it? I'm looking at boats now. I've just found a 20 grand 2-bedroom houseboat. I'm looking at it. It's got a cabin that's about the size of my downstairs bathroom.
Hey, you know what? When you're on a boat, you're not spending all your time in the bedroom. You just need to.
What happened here?
I
don't know why I did that.
You're dreaming again.
No, I'm trying to type something over here and it did this over there. Now it's doing it right.
I don't really need a big house. I spend 90% of my time outside on my deck or in the kitchen. My dream house is like a 20-foot by 20-foot kitchen and 1 bedroom and a bathroom. I'm good.
All right, here you go.
Bedroom. I just need a place to sleep. I'll sleep in a hammock.
All right, this is for Lake Powell, which is on the Grand Canyon. And so they got the ones for sale. The ones up here for sale, $11,000, $16, $30, $99.
Them ones look like the rest of the yacht sunk, and that's just the top floors floating above water.
Yeah. Some of these are basically set up as houseboats and stuff.
I mean, if you don't like the neighbors, you can just move. That's the good thing. Right?
Exactly. Now these
I don't like that full anchor. Yeah.
There's a couple of these yachts out there, house yachts, but
I mean, if you've got the kind of money they want for them, you just wouldn't.
yeah. But
not for nothing, I don't think I would put myself in a lake that is a lake because of a dam. Because when they decide to let the dam go, you now have a house, not a houseboat. You're just sitting cockeyed on the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably's on your side.
Yeah, exactly.
Either that, or if you're too close to the dam, you're doing whitewater rafting down until you get down to the next dam.
I mean, if you're gonna go out, that's the way to go, though.
Yeah. If I'm going, I'm taking my whole house with me. Woohoo!
On the front of the ship, like Lieutenant Dan.
Like the Titanic. Yeah, that too. Yeah.
I'm the king of the world. Yeah. But I know down near where my wife is still living, but she's coming up here next week for a while. We're going to be going back and forth, moving stuff up.
Yeah.
But there are a bunch on the what's called the Delta or the San Joaquin Delta, coming off of from Benicia on up to Sacramento. You go up there and all of a sudden there's side sloughs and stuff. There'll be like 20 houseboats there, and there'll be 10 over here, and there are hundreds of houseboats in that 80-mile stretch.
Yeah, well.
And they moved. Oh, we're moving. We hate all these neighbors here. We're going to find a different spot, and they sell their spot and they buy another spot somewhere else.
We're gonna move in between these two neighbors. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to try and attempt to go to sleep, gentlemen. So thank you for having me.
That was Mike.
Anyone who's joined on my side, make sure you go over to Gil Greyman Prepping and carry on watching this side. So, cheers, gents. I'll see you all.
And give me a second here. I'm going to drop the link here for my side. If they want to come over and watch us more over here, there's the link coming up there. And so
let me copy it.
They want to type that in quick, or
I'll paste it into mine. There we go.
Okay.
There we go. Right. So head over this way. I'm sure they'll be talking for a while longer. Cheers, gents. I'm going to attempt to sleep. Woo.
All right. Good luck.
See you later.
Yeah.
Steve just joined us. Hey, Steve. Corsair.
Ah, there he is. Let me go ahead and if he wants to come up.
If he comes up and starts talking, I'm just going to hit the mute button because he has a whole lot more to say about this than I do.
Yeah. He's done several videos on the rule of law.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, and like I said, there are, like in the beginning, for those that have come in later, for rule of law, there are a number of things that can cause it. Most likely, the rule of law is not going to trigger SHTF or Tawaki. It's going to be one of the dominoes that fall from the event that triggered it. So, and generally, from all my studies and stuff of Homeland Security, we figured out, and this ticked a lot of the mucky mucks up. It's first failure is going to be federal government, then states. It's going to collapse from the top down, and the ones that may survive are going to be small towns and small city law enforcement, or the ones that may. Now he's eating and lurking. Okay, and so it may those may other areas may be totally lawless, no law, and some areas will still have law and order because of the city governments have survived. Everybody's come together and they're supporting their law enforcement officers by providing food, and
Ammo.
and room and board basically.
Yeah, and ammo.
Ammo, yeah. Yeah, there's but when it coming back, everything we went through and we're looking at it, yeah, it's going to start with small towns and work its way to bigger towns and bigger cities and stuff, and then from there to counties or parishes if you're in Louisiana, and then it's going to work up. It'll work up just like it did in the Old West. It's probably the
rule of law will not be the rule of all the previous laws that were on the books, all 8 trillion of them.
Yeah.
They will now have their own laws and rules, and they will tell you and post them like they did way back when. Like, these are our rules and these are our laws. If you break a law,
no pistols allowed inside of city limits on Saturday night.
Right. Yeah.
Cowboy stuff.
Yeah, basically, yeah, and that's what it'll turn into. Not like, okay, we're just going to follow every law that was ever made. So, in California, you can't set a mousetrap without a hunting license type of thing. Yeah, they're not going to go after that crap. They're going to be like, look, don't be a dick. Just live. Be nice to your neighbors. Everybody be nice and play. If somebody gets in a fight, yes, we'll come out and we'll discuss what happened, why it shouldn't happen, and if somebody did something nefarious, we will take a vote and decide what happens to that person, depending on how nefarious it was.
Yeah, and sometimes the local law enforcement will show up, and everybody go, the 2 combatants out there just. They go, I can bring it. I go, no, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. And when they're done, okay, all right, I'm buying the beer. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was when I was in elementary school. We get in fight on the playgrounds, and they make us shake hands. And we're supposed to shake hands, okay, and we're done.
Yeah, shake hands, go home, be with your wife, be with your family, and don't do that crap again, or I'm gonna have to come back and knock some heads together. And that's 70s terminology.
And so, so when rule of law is coming back after it goes away, that's the thing is there's no way to tell how long it's going to be gone, how severely it's going to be gone,
who's going to make the laws, who's going to make the rules.
And that's the thing is it's, have the judges all been hiding under their sheets? Now you got some of the judges coming out and go, wait a minute. You were a lousy judge. We're not reinstating you. You were a good judge. Sorry. You're back in.
Yeah, sorry. Judges that were judges now and then 10 years come out of the woodwork and be like, I'm a judge. It's like, dude, you belong to the British, whatever bar stands for, the British accreditation, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. No, we're not. You're not going to sit there and quote, whatever laws used to be
that are no longer around.
Years ago. We don't care about that. We want you to base your judgment on what just happened and who did what and why and to whom. That's what we want your judgments on. We don't want you bringing back all the old crap and
that's the
all
thing,
stuff that got you into trouble to begin with. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what the thing is going to be. It's going to be law enforcement. Throws law enforcement, then judges, and of course, someplace to put them, prisons.
Yeah, judge, jury, executioner. Yeah, that's it.
That's the other thing.
And how many people
what comes to mind?
Did something, now we have to feed them too, and that turns into a small town issue. Great. Yeah. This guy just did this bad thing, and somebody is hurt because of it permanently. I'm not going to get into details. And now we're going to put him, we have to build a box. We have to find metal bars to put there. Now we have to feed them for 20 years. No.
That's what things, sentences are going to change. All right. Back in the Wild West.
Yeah, Judge Dredd. Sorry,
stealing horses. That was a hanging offense.
Yep.
Stealing cattle, that was a hanging offense.
Yeah.
So now it's going to be,
Hanging.
someone got a car running on gasifier. You steal, that's a hanging offense. Not a slap on the wrist thing, type thing.
Yeah, somebody posted a bad meme in the town square on a piece of paper. Yeah, that's not a hanging offense.
No, that's an egging offense.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, we don't want to waste the eggs.
Nope.
That's a gorilla poop throwing offense.
That's a tar and feather offense or a.
No, you don't want to waste the tar either. It's a poop throwing offense. That's where the stalks come back.
Throw them out in the sand and cover them with honey and let the ants have at it. Yeah.
But the thing is, there are going to be fewer laws. Penalties are going to be a lot of monetary ones, as far as either food or
more severe and less frequent. Yes.
Yeah, and then there's going to be a lot of capital punishments.
Mm-hmm. And everybody in the locality will learn from that. Oh,
yeah.
So if I go over and beat up my neighbor because he was a jerk to me, I'm now guilty. Yeah, sorry, there's no more of that rule of law that was around 10 years ago that you can just accuse somebody of something and then, and win money. There's no money involved. Yeah.
Well, then, someone breaks up a bar, he's going to have to pay to either have
fix the bar or work at the bar,
repair for the repairs and stuff. Yep. If someone does something stupid, they're going to have to pay to make restitution one way or another, whether they got to work it off or whatever. That's one of the things when stuff starts coming back. The movie that popped into my mind talking about this was the Clint Eastwood movie Hang 'em High.
Yep.
Where they wound up setting up a courthouse, and the marshals bring everybody in, and they had the trial, and it's like, okay, time served or whatever, or you're doing hard labor, you're going to work in the community garden, whatever it is, and or it's like, all right, you're one of the 12 people getting hung today.
Yep. Call the Undertaker. He's got more business today.
All right, let's see. How can you enforce under the law? Well, that's the thing. One of the first things that are going to be coming back is, if the city had the small town cities have laws on their books already, city council is all right. We're going to keep all these laws for this, whatever. Now the state's gone, so we're going to have to set up laws to deal with these bigger ones. So the elected officials of the town, or just the town committee getting together, are going to have to form, are going to have to codify what laws are going to be the current new laws. And so, you take something from your neighbor, most likely, if you get caught taking from your neighbor, most likely you're just going to get shot. And it's going to be, oh, he was stealing from you? Yeah, that stuff he was stealing. He was in my house. I shot him, whatever, he crawled outside, and it's going to be.
Right. And any new laws that need to be, quote unquote, put on the books will be voted on by your local populace.
Yeah.
I got 1,000 people. All right, everybody, Monday afternoon, 2 p.m., everybody show up and vote. We're coming up. We have a couple laws we'd like to run by you and see if this is something that, and everybody be like, okay, stealing a horse, you get hung. Obviously, we have to prove you stole a horse.
Right.
And if that's the case, then you'll be hung. And everybody votes on it. And it's like, okay, 90% of the people said, yep, steal my horse, hang him. And by the way, I want my horse back.
Yeah. And you break into somebody's house and you're stealing from them. If you don't get shot and killed,
you lose a finger. Yeah, you chop a finger off. Whatever. Yeah.
Oh, now you're going Arab on me.
Whatever. You know what? You get caught for stealing, you lose a hand. Get caught for stealing again, you lose another hand. Good luck eating. Better find a straw.
Yeah. But Yeah.
HOA. Yeah, no, I'm not
HOA.
talking.
Yeah. No. We're talking people with honor, not Miss Karen and her
Yeah, and then the Karens show up
coven
at
of
your meeting
cronies.
going, oh, well, if you steal a horse, you shouldn't hang him. You should let him feed the horse and take care of the horse. He needed the horse. Okay, new law in the books. No Karens allowed.
Yeah.
and no
But
Kevins allowed either.
that's one of the things is that, rule of law is gone, but when stuff's coming back, there are going to be, some people are going to say, we want certain laws that were in before. We want to have those. We want to set up, certain ones. You kill somebody, you get, and you did it because out of maliciousness, not protecting your stuff, not nothing justified. You got mad at somebody, so you went over their house and you shot them. Yeah, all right, gallows.
Yeah, democracy will be a historic oddity.
Yeah, well, thing is, don't forget, the United States is not now, nor has it ever been, a democracy.
We are a constitutional republic.
Constitutional republic. The founding fathers all did not want it to be a democracy. Well, there may have been one or two, but it was like Jefferson did it. They're like, no, and that's why we have the Jefferson Papers. That's why we have the Adams Papers. All of them clarifying, no, this is what it means.
Yep.
Yep. Oh yeah. You guys have differences? No other witnesses? Fine. In the boxing ring.
There you go.
But so rule
Two men,
of law.
Wait. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves.
Crap, I can't find it that quick. I was gonna change my background to the Bordertown.
Yeah.
Bordertown, yeah. Bartertown. Shoot, now you squirreled me on that one.
Sorry.
Yeah, like Steve said, might will or might make it right for a period of time, but it's going to be one of those things. Is a small town, small town, 500 people living there without rule of law there. Probably maybe 60 days before someone says, hey, crap, we need to get, if they have some bad actors, everyone have tell me, all right, we need to, take care of this. Small towns and cities, it's going to come back quicker. Los Angeles, Steve, take care. Just listen, bear with me. Los Angeles is probably going to break back up again. It's not going to be the city Los Angeles with all these suburbs. It's going to be Tahunga's breaking off, Sunland's breaking off. La Crescenta is going to break off.
We're not dealing with your bullshit laws. We're doing our own.
All
thing.
the little ones, because they're not going to be able to communicate and cover the big one. They're going to break up into smaller communities again.
Right.
But so rule of law in from what we were talking about back when I was at Homeland Security, because that was one of the things, how are we going to combat this? And of course, Secretary of Homeland Security Ridge did not like our response. It's going to be, federal government's going to fail first, and it's going to trickle down federal, state, counties, cities, big cities to medium cities, down to small towns, and small towns may not lose it. They may be, keep to enforce it. But
Steal me Chungus. Yeah.
Yeah. And there will be some form of laws coming back. And as more places have it, then they'll sometimes towns will get together. We'll get together and say, hey, we need to get our laws the same, and then they'll start being communities will start agreeing on laws and stuff, and then all of a sudden, we got a county, we need to get a county system thing going again, and like I said, it's gonna start at the bottom and build from the bottom up. So I don't see if we've into a situation where we're in Milwaukee or a real severe SHTF and the rule of law has ended at all levels, it's going to start at the bottom. It's not going to start at the top.
Yeah.
Because for it to end like that, that means there is no more grid. There's no more mass communications. There's a lot of things. Dominoes have fallen. And to set those dominoes back up, it's going to take a generation or two. And some areas will come back quicker than other areas. Some areas may never come back. So rule of law, yeah, it's some people, some of these fantasy porn channels, fear porn channels are going, oh, it's like, no, you don't want it to go away totally. And you want there to be some resonance of it staying around to help you recover quicker. Oh, but I want to be the Lord of the Flies out here. It's like, idiot. What happens to the Lord of the Flies? The Lord gets knocked off by the one of his underlings. Now there's a new Lord of the Flies. Yeah, it's you want to have some. You need to have, even if it's at small town, Mayberry RFD level, surviving, where everybody kind of comes together. All right, yes, we need to have something here. We need to have a sheriff or a town marshal or whatever, and we need to support them. Wait. Too much faith in humanity.
Yeah, way too much.
I may have too much faith in the surviving humanity, but I have a feeling that humanity is going to learn a valuable lesson really quick, and it's going to be like the Wild West. It's going to be crap. All right, we need a sheriff, or we need a town marshal. We need something. But yeah. It's, everything we looked at and stuff, with the psychologists they brought in and stuff, I hate psychologists, but they brought in to say, they said, it's going to start, if rule of law fails, it's going to start at the bottom and come up until you get a warlord or a king or a duke, collecting the people together. I'm royalty. I make the laws now, and I got the army to back me up.
The duke. You mean like, wait, what was the other movie? Oh, The Postman.
Yes. I have a bug out bag until he saw you respect my authority. Oh. Steve, have you seen those videos out? They're mainly on Facebook, the reels and stuff. There's a new beer out called Colored Crayons. And all the other branches are saying, oh, it's made for the Marine Corps. I've seen several of those. Like, guys, come on, you need to respect the Marine Corps.
Well, Steve did say he was eating and lurking. I was going to put on there, but I decided not to. What color?
I have a bug out bag now. As I say. Yes. Yeah, we got rid of that here.
Yeah,
when I started posting videos of all the city council meetings, the previous mayor tried to stop it, and I said, "Oh, you want to go to federal jail, huh?" And he goes, "What?" And the city attorney says, "Yeah, you can't stop him. You can't stop him from videotaping the city council meetings." And he did not run for election again.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. And imagine all the corruption we found with money disappearing and stuff. And
yeah. I say you can't come here from there and try to make here like there without there becoming here or something like that.
Here becoming there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things is
if you're leaving to leave your politics, don't bring your politics.
yeah. I missed there.
Yeah. Zero faith in people putting things back together in less than a century. Once it crumbles, it's gone. It's barely sticking together now. Yes, it's true.
Yeah. Well, I have a feeling, and some stuff we're talking about. There's a lot of the hanky ringing crybabies aren't going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
So your hardworking, self-reliant people are going to be the ones that are making it. And they will change politics really quick.
Yeah, Karen won't make it.
Yeah. But yeah, the homeowners association will not be becoming a city council.
Have a good night, Tammy.
Yeah, Tammy leaving. Everyone's okay. Well, we're coming up on 2 hours here. I'm going to wrap it up here, folks. So coming up here.
Yeah, what's Monday? I think I missed last Monday. What did I miss? Oh, yeah, I did miss.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. So since I don't have to watch, I got the kids dumped on me today, all the grandkids. So I wasn't able to go out there, do work in the garden, doing the video I wanted to, the live stream. I will be trying a live stream tomorrow in the garden. Hang on, let me double check the weather. Yeah, I'll be doing it in the morning because it says there's a 30% chance of showers after noon. So I'll
get up early.
Get up early. Get out there, get planting. And I'll be doing that tomorrow. I'll stream that to both channels. Monday on Camp Pat and Family Compound, the topic is canning apple juice. That's the starting topic. And we'll probably spread to applesauce and other apple stuff, and I'll go to other juices as well, grape juice, and yeah. All right, then Tactical Tuesday here on Gray Man Prepping is this one's been requested. I bring it back again to address it. Being a gray man, what does it mean? And no, it doesn't mean wearing gray all the time, even though I do that up here just as tongue in cheek. Thursday is the Midnight Ride with Gray Man Prepping. Friday on Camp Pat and Family Compound is soil amendments. And then next Saturday, the event we're going to explore is after the invasion. What are your plans? All right. So everyone, remember, stay happy. No matter what life throws at you, stay safe. Don't go out and do anything foolish. Keep adding to your preps. Stick to the basics. Water, food, medicine, clothing. Learn a new skill every month. Grow some food of your own. Plant your garden, indoors or out. Get a garden growing. And I'll see you hopefully tomorrow morning for my impromptu live. All right? Take care.
Have a good night.